Welcome back to the new normal, everybody. It's me, instructional designer and teaching consultant, Tony Sindelar, and we are talking again about things you can do to support students during these challenging times of disruption and online instruction. And joining me, not just one, not just two, but three guests. First up, it's my pal, Guyan Chan-Smutko, Associate Director of the Genetic Counseling Program. Hi, Guy.
Hello, so glad to join you today. I'm excited for this. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Next up, it's Kim Trong, the Executive Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Hi, Kim.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
And last but not least, it's Jack Gormley, Dean of Students and Alumni Services.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us today.
So we've got four of us here from the IHP to talk about what we can be doing to support students during COVID-19, and we thought we would put together a nice little top 10 list of strategies to think about for your teaching and supporting your students as we go into the summer. So I'm going to start us off. Number 10, when planning instruction, think about the role of asynchronous teaching. So those of us who have been around with online teaching for a while know the potential of different time zones and the role of students' lives outside of schools as parents, as caregivers, and as just working professionals potentially. And asynchronous instruction can really provide a lot of flexibility and help students out with the time they need to get things done. This is an important time to think about flexibility in instruction, flexibility in deadlines, and reasonable expectations. Next up, number 9.
Number 9, please continue to record and share any important announcements or course changes that you come across. For example, if something gets mentioned in a Zoom call, it would be really easy to think that everybody heard it, so everyone's going to remember. But just like when we're in a regular classroom, reminders and D2L announcements or notes can be really helpful, especially good while everyone has so much on their mind right now.
Yeah. Guy, number 8.
Yeah, number 8, make space and acknowledge the hardship that could be going on right now, adjusting to the Zoom environment, adjusting to the online environment. This can happen in your introduction of the course at the very beginning of class, or even before your first class meets online. I think verbally acknowledging that people can come as they are and be aware that they may have multiple commitments that they are juggling all at the same time can be very comforting for students. Acknowledging that that everyone may have varying commitments, such as family commitments or parents that they are taking care of. I think students will appreciate that recognition that times are tough right now and the struggle is real.
Yeah. Kim, number 7.
Number 7, share information about resources available to students such as the Emergency Fund, EAP, SAP, Food Resources page, the Office of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, Office of Student and Alumni Services, other offices, and the COVID-19 page. Sometimes students experience information overload, and it kind of felt overwhelming for me just to read that list of resources to use. So it doesn't hurt to share this information on the water cooler with students and reshare it with them again about where they can find resources and support.
Jack, number 6.
Number 6, thank you very much. Stay positive. Obviously, when I suggest this, I don't say it thinking of anything inauthentic or forced, but be yourself. Keep the optimism coming. Good news stories, and I think especially any accounts that you can share of the healthcare providers who are really on the front lines right now and so much in the news. If you know them and you have that good news story, please share that with your classes. As we progress through the summer, we're going to need to help each other out and remember that, yes, there are tough days, but there's also good news and there are good days ahead.
Yeah. Guy, number 5.
Yeah, number 5, as you think about how you're going to utilize your class time, think about ways to maybe build in class time ways to engage in mindfulness practice, self-care, and community support exercises For example, this could include a 5-minute mindfulness exercise at the beginning of class. During break, maybe you can also advise students to do a guided sequence of stretches as part of their break, because they're sitting down for long periods of time. And another way that you can also do this is think about if you could provide opportunities for your students to share with each other what identified things that they might need help with and ways that they could help others. So that kind of sharing and creating that community support and verbalizing the ways that they can support each other can be really, really impactful for your students.
Back to Jack for number 4.
Thank you. I would suggest being emotionally open. Don't be afraid to show some vulnerability. Invite the students to share their struggles. And if you're comfortable with self-disclosure, especially when advising students or sharing examples in class discussion, this could be really helpful, especially nowadays. Of course, it needs to be based on your own preferred boundaries and good judgment. And if this is a technique that you use in the past, I would suggest continuing to use it, because continuing that relationship that you have with the students and using those same techniques that they knew you to use before COVID will help you not only be emotionally open, but help the students see that as well.
Guy, number 3.
So maybe you might need to find new ways to make yourself available and accessible to students. And many of us already hold office hours for our courses, but you may find that you need to schedule more than one on a given week, or think about, the availability of your students in your cohort and their availability, and perhaps match your office hours to that availability. And one strategy for doing that is having open Zoom office hours, where you open up your Zoom session and students can just drop right in. And then another way is, especially if you're a faculty advisor, think about reaching out to your students proactively and maintaining some momentum and engaging them. There may be some weeks where they don't necessarily have any questions for you, but knowing that you're reaching out to them is going to be hugely beneficial in helping them understand that they are supported and that you're there for them. And if you team teach, maybe, of course, strategize with your co-instructors on ways to create new opportunities for your students to engage with you outside of the classroom.
And on to Kim for number 2 on the top 10 things we can do to support students during COVID-19.
Number 2, engage in culturally responsive or relevant pedagogy. There's so much going on in the world right now during COVID-19. Include this relevant course content that helps students understand their role as healthcare professionals in a diverse society. For instance, low-income communities of color are experiencing challenges accessing healthcare. How do students see their role in providing support to these communities as nurses, OTs, PTs, genetic counselors, PAs, and speech-language pathologists? We acknowledge that it might not be possible now for you to include this course content, but we hope that you endeavor to do this in the future. Also, be aware of how interpersonal dynamics play out, including racial dynamics. It's important to be race and identity conscious when engaging in teaching and learning both online and in the classroom, particularly as it will help to mitigate bias.
And back to me for the number 1 suggestion for how we can support students during COVID-19. Number 1, don't require students to be on camera to share their video for your synchronous class sessions. A lot of people are struggling with this as the role of Zoom expands greatly in teaching and learning. Sharing video can feel invasive. It can be a form of surveillance instead of a form of communication. So be mindful of the intrusive nature of expecting students to have video from all of their homes, which are, let's be honest, none of us are living in our best situations right now. Remember to model the behavior that you want to see in terms of proper use of Zoom. Think about the role of the chat feature, and above all, be patient. Each student's access to quiet space and strong internet connections is going to be different, and they're not all going to be ideal. So thank you for joining us for this top 10 list of things you can do to support students during COVID-19. We hope this is helpful for those of you teaching this summer, preparing to teach this summer, and beyond. We know that this is a really challenging time and students need our support now more than ever. Let us know how we can help you out with new ideas and new strategies for helping all our students be as successful as they can. Let me thank my guests. Thank you, Guy. Thank you, Jack. And thank you, Kim, for being here and helping assemble this top 10 list. Take care. Goodbye.